Okay, it's not going to look good for them, unfortunately. So now we go for the Ulamog. Not sure how they're going to get back from this. So if we get rid of their draining things, that should help. I mean, they might have a way to sack them. Okay. I'm happy because everything that died would have lost 2, and that's kind of scary, to be honest. So somebody told me that this Karn was not very good, and I think it isn't very good, but let's try and prove them wrong by making another Colorless Karn deck. So check out my first one if you haven't seen it before. It's actually pretty effective, pretty powerful at defending itself. This Karn, however, is a bit weird. I feel like they were a bit scared of him and they nerfed him a bit too much in R&D, but it does have very good potential. It can create tapped Power Stone tokens so it can ramp into your humongous threats. Stuff like Metalwork Colossus, Meteor Golem, Planar Bridge can get out more threats. I didn't mention Ulamog because the Power Stones can... The mana that the Power Stones create can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell, so it's a little bit dodgy in that way. But Ulamog's just such a great finisher that you kind of have to have it in a colours deck, otherwise you're not really going to be interacting very much or winning the game very much. -1 is basically paying any amount of mana. Look at that many cards on the top, put one of those into your hand and the rest of the bottom. So it's like a weird scry effect that lets you keep one, and the -7 is you get an emblem with tap an untapped artifact you control. This emblem deals 1 damage to any target. So if you get to that stage and you've got loads of these Power Stones out, you're going to pretty much win the game, I think, just by pinging them to death. The deck is, don't forget, colourless, but you can use basic lands on Arena. That's perfectly fine. It uses all the best colourless spells that you can think of. Probably the best card in the deck is the Forsaken Monument because it just lets you explode. Gives your creatures a buff, lets you tap double when you tap for colours, and whenever you cast a colour spell, you gain 2 life. So if you can get this out, you can cast Ulamog on turn 6. So that's on curve, maybe even earlier if you've got some of the other things. The lands, however, are the most exciting part, and you can have as many functionality lands as you want, utility lands as you want. Check out the list in the description below if you want to see how it works, and also leave me a like and a sub because it really helps the channel. Let's get into the gameplay. Okay, opponent's using Joda with Karuga, something that I've seen a fair amount of. And so all this stuff's going to cost 3 or more. Our starting hand is not very good, however. We want to get a few more lands than that. This is pretty good, actually. Okay, let's go. So I've just got back from my trip from Holland, so if I make any misplays, I'm going to attribute it to that because I'm pretty tired, but I just really wanted to get back to creating videos again because I do actually enjoy this. Even though I'm facing stuff like Joda and Karuga, which are a pretty scary combination. Skyclave Relic, so they're going to be able to play pretty much whatever they want next turn, I guess. I think we want to leave the Silex until a bit later, so we'll go for the Foundry Inspector here because it can make all of our stuff cheaper. So next turn, if this is still alive, we can go for the Gilded Lotus, which we can then use to pump out more things. So it's kind of exciting. And then we can get the Godfarer statue out. Timeless Lotus. Okay, that's a scary one. Let's go for the Relic Tower, Gilded Lotus, and then we can go for the Celestus as well. And we can even go for the Silex. So because of the Foundry Inspector, we've just swapped our entire hand out here. Now obviously, because they're 5 colour, they can have access to a multitude of evils. That could just end us. We do have the Introduction to Annihilation to take out something, maybe the Timeless Lotus, because they can actually go Joda, Corral's Expertise, okay. That is pretty rough. So I think because they did that, we're going to have to exile the Timeless Lotus here. Just put them off some mana. It does let them draw, but I think the amount of mana they were getting from this was kind of insane. 5 mana for 5, pretty good. I do, however, think that the paper prices of this were unwarranted and stupid. 20-30 quid, or $20-30 for something like this is just silly. Oracle of the Alpha, okay, it's kind of interesting, this card. Everyone's putting it into their decks, but it adds 9 cards to your deck. So I'm not sure if that's a good deal or not. Let's see if we can get the Inspector out here. Okay, we can. And yeah, I guess we'll just put lots of stuff into play again. So obviously the reason people play the Oracle is to get the extra turns and the 3 cards, but finding them is the issue. I guess the Squire one is good, but in 100 cards, I'm not really sure. So they play Karuga, they'll draw 2 cards here. So that does kind of tell me that they didn't really have much else. Mox Jet, okay, sure. Wow, Bone Crusher Giant. They're really, really adamant of getting rid of that, but I guess it makes sense. So the flying on the Oracle is pretty annoying as well. How much mana do we have after this? 1, 2... Let's go for the Traxos here. And God Pharaoh's statue. That should slow them down a bit. And then Karn Silex is a nice way to just... It's like get out of jail free. If things go horribly wrong, we can... Oh no, okay, so they're basically just going to win with the Emergent Ultimatum. So sadly, it was one of those boring games where the opponent uses combo. There you go, guys. That is Arena. Now let's just see how what they choose before we leave, to educate people who haven't seen Emergent Ultimatum. Normally they search for 3 cards that no matter which one you pick, it's going to be horrible for yourself. So I let them keep 2 and 1 goes into their deck. So I let them keep... Sorry, if I put Jingataxius into their deck, then I lose all my things, and they can play anything. So you can see here, each one of these is going to be pretty bad. So if they get Omniscience and Jingataxius, they're going to be able to play anything for free from the hand. And then they also get to draw 7 cards at the end on their end step. What are they doing here? I don't really understand what is going on. It's just animating in and out. Okay, so they actually screwed up, and I'm actually really glad that I didn't concede, because that guy is just an idiot. I'm sorry. If you're using this deck and you're going for the combo, at least maybe win. We go first. Jeez. Okay. Okay. We've got a little Pinocchio. We've got a thing and a life gain. Sure. And they've got pretty typical commander right now. Seems to be popular. It's funny how popularity works, isn't it? It's whatever's new. It's like, oh, that new thing. Heaven forbid an old thing were to get popular again. I mean, I don't think I've seen a single player use Karn, but as soon as someone makes an uncommon deck powerful, everyone uses it rather than find their own way. That's people. That is people. So let's see what Pinocchio does. Yeah, we're gonna need lands, because Ulamog costs 200 million mana. And Elas Ilkor is a combination of a few things. It's basically like a Sisters deck. And Soul Sisters is essentially life gain whenever creatures come in. But this one also has, whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1. So it's like a Blood Artist. So I think I'm probably going to exile this at end of turn, because I want to get some attacks in. Because every little counts after all. Yeah, let's go for the Obelisk first. because ramping is going to be important. Now, don't forget, I said in the intro that the Power Stones cannot ramp colorless spells. They have to be artifact spells. So they've essentially got two blood artists here, which is kind of crazy. But we do have a Forsaken Monument, so let's see how this goes. Come on, just if this survives, then we get to face cast the big boy. Midnight Reaper, okay. So sadly this island only tapped for one. Let's see. Let us see. Okay, so we can't go for the Ulamog yet. Let's hit QQ, see how much mana we get from this. We've got 9 mana? Okay. Let's make this guy bigger. We also gain life as well. Actually, we probably should have gone for this. But then we wouldn't have got the counter on the patchwork, so yeah, it's fine. Look at that life gain we've got as well. Like, it's pretty juicy. And yeah, so weirdly, we need a colorless land. I guess it's not weird, I suppose. It's just in normal decks, you want lands that tap for mana. Planar Bridge. Planar Bridge. Or do we go for Karn? I think we go for Karn and try and find a land, please. No? Are they going to counter it, perhaps? Let's QQ. So we've got 5. Okay, so we can pay... It's a tear up, isn't it? Because you want to keep some mana open, maybe, for... Let's pay 3 in case we get something cheap. Okay, so we've got the land here. I guess we'll take that because we can't cast the other 2 and we want to hit our land drops. So... No, I'm just going to leave them. I feel like we're very lucky here. They haven't killed any of our things. And they still aren't. Okay, it's not going to look good for them, unfortunately. So now we go for the Ulamog. Not sure how they're going to get back from this. So if we get rid of their draining things, that should help. I mean, they might have a way to sack them. Okay. I'm happy because everything that died would have lost 2, and that's kind of scary, to be honest. Totally happy for that. And then let's make Power Stone Token, which increases the power of Nettle Cyst. So when this dies, they will draw a card. And they also gain life. And they also draft a card. But it's 1 blocker down. And it also means that if they have a board wipe, it, you know, it means, I don't know. It's just good to get rid of opponent's blockers and attackers. Just drawing on a permanent. Okay, so they've still got to deal with the Ulamog. I mean, I don't know if they're, you know, I don't know about this. They're not safe. Well, there you go. Was that the right move? Was that the right move, guys? Tell me in the comments below. Do you think they should have blown up the archive? I guess so, but leaving Ulamog, you're just gonna die. Opponent goes first with Shana. Opponent goes first. Opponent goes first. Opponent goes mother fudging first. I'm honestly, what the hell? Come on. I mean, how? Opponent goes first. It's just like, you know, it's just one of those things. Stupid. Opponent goes bloody first. Right, let's go for the Voltaic 7. It's actually pretty decent being able to untap artifacts. It works pretty well with stuff like Thematic Compass, which lets you get two searches out of this if you're really desperate, or Mana Rocks. You know, untap Starksteel Citadel. It does a lot more than you think, which is kind of funky. Cultivate, so they're going big. Shana is a deceptive deck. It looks like it's an aggro thing, but it's mostly always control. Scry 1. Whoa. Keep the Archive. Pretty good with the Voltaic Servant. I mean, obviously you have to have instant speed spells, but it's just nice to have this untapped in your opponent's turn. Makes your opponent freak out a bit. What the heck are they ramping into here? 3 ramp spells in a row. Got mana open. Okay. So because I got mana open, I'm just tempted to maybe just get a land. What are they going to do? Counter the activate ability? And let's swing in. I mean, do they have a flash? Okay, no flash thing. So if we ever get to 5 mana, we can do this twice in one entire turn, which is pretty cool. Although, you know, it would be nice to actually play spells rather than just work around the counter spells. Oh my, okay, Supreme Verdict. Let's try for the key. Negate or something? Of course, pretty much negate. This is Magic. Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering. Although no one's actually gathering, if you think about it. That's the irony here. Like, we're playing at a computer screen away from other people. I mean, Arena is kind of the opposite of gathering, right? What's the opposite of gathering? Ungathering. Okay, so actually I'm not going to attack because this is kind of like Torrential Gearhulk territory. Discover the formula. Sure, let's just get 3 powerful cards. Okay, so we can Mazavith their attacker for the rest of the game, which is pretty good. So they might not ever be able to hit us with the Shana until they can destroy this land, which is pretty cool. Also, Spires is very good against this layer of the Hydra. Lo and behold, they're a flash deck. I mean, what the heck is this? Although saying that, I mean, it's sorceries, 4 sorceries, 3 instants. Yeah, that's right. Let's just, you know, let's take my time away from me. Oh, Teferi, that's pretty annoying.
I know what must be done.
Teferi, I mean, okay. So we'll try and annihilate him, I suppose. Why is Teferi in this deck? Doesn't even gain life. That's kind of strange. I mean, we can also tutor for something as well. See if they block here. Huh. Okay, they're just letting it slide. Sure. So yeah, we'll give them the bait spell, and then once we play our 5th land, we can try to exile him with the introduction. Okay, so there's Tail Zone. Annoyingly, they've still got 2 mana open, so if this gets countered as well, it's going to be pretty rough to deal with this Teferi. Goodness me, it's just pure counter spells. Sure. You get to untap the Solemn as a blocker. Make disappear. Never seen someone use this. They're obviously down to the, you know, bare bones. They've already used 62 copies of counter spell, so they're down to the crap ones, the commons. Because this person is absolutely desperate to make humanity feel as miserable as possible. And if you're watching, yeah, you are a misery maker, aren't you? Teferi here of Dominaria. Okay. Time Warp. Oh, they're so powerful. I look up to this player so much. This is probably the point that most people quit. And this is also the point that I'm going to quit. Because they've got an extra turn to Teferi. Counter spells coming out the wazoo. Yeah, let's call this one, guys. I'm just not on one of those moves to be berated at this point. Moving on. Okay, we go first against Tabrax. I presume this is a Cleric build because it's very powerful Cleric Lord. Lets them draw cards when Clerics die. Pretty cool, actually. It's nice to see something a bit different now and then. Shadowborn Apostle build. Oh, okay, sweet. So we can completely wreck them with a Ratchet Bomb. So let's start with this. I mean, if they have Shadowborn Apostles, then there'll be a 1-mana deck. Which means that the Ratchet Bomb can just take them all out. So this is essentially stopping them playing more Apostles. Which is kind of immense, really. And we could probably just win the game with this card. Assuming they can't interact with it. So there's another. And we just go about our merry way, playing out the Ornithopter. So we might have been better to go for the Ornithopter then, but I think getting the Ratchet Bomb out early is the key here to survival. So if they do go for the Tabrax, then I think I will use the Ratchet Bomb, because I don't want them to get triggers here. Yeah. Killing 2 of them's fine, it slows them down. We don't want them to get demons out. So if you haven't seen Shadowborn Apostle decks, they can use any number of them. And then sack 6 to get any demon into play, which is kind of scary. 2/2. I think we go for the Guild of the Lotus, and then the Foundry Inspector seems good. Get some discounts out. So because they don't, I mean, they can just go for, what, 4 copies of the Apostle here? They have 4, which is kind of scary. Herald's Horn. Sure. So that lets them put Clerics into their hand, essentially, if it's on the top of the deck. They're looking at all of our permanents, which is kind of scary. Buried Ruin lets us get an artifact back. So playing the Karn out doesn't really do us much here. So let's go for the Traxos first. And then we can go for the Treasure Keeper afterwards. Although saying that... yeah, maybe we can draw a card. They're going to kill the Ornithopter. Okay, that's... okay, sure. If they were more patient there, they could have killed the Traxos, but...
Sleeper agents walk among us.
So let's pay 2. It's definitely a weird ability, I have to say. Ooh, Key to the Archive, that's cool. And then now they're racing against about 10 damage a turn. So, you know. Let's see how well they can do. Key to the Archive might get something nice. Mirror Box. Mirror Box.
Where did I miscalculate?
Not really sure. I'm not really sure why Mirror Box is in the deck. It's not a Legends deck. Introduction to Annihilation. Okay, some good things. Start with the Key to the Archive. And Electrolyze could be good. But then they're all okay, they're huge, aren't they? They're gonna be each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each. Right, I see, non-token. Right, okay, fine. Let's swing in. If they block, they block. So it doesn't look like they really care about getting the bigger demons out. Seems like a strange block. I mean, this has trample. And yeah, let's get rid of the tab racks. I don't like the idea that they're just getting random cards here. I mean, I did give them one ironically, but okay, sweet. That's pretty good. I mean, Karn really didn't do much, but the rest of the deck was good. If you enjoyed watching this Karn video, why not try the first one I did right here?